Hey, yo, isn't this the most diva-ish you done heard all year? New reports have broke the internet, and they suggest that Canelo Alvarez, payday, you want payday, I know that. Canelo Alvarez of Mexico has turned down a David Benavidez offer, and he was going to stand to make $60 million plus by fighting David Benavidez Cinco de Mayo 2024. And PBC was strapped up. Wow. Now, there was a writer and a reporter. He works with Pro Box TV, also DAZN, Ricardo Celis Deportes. And he put Benavidez's team, so PBC, offered Canelo $55 million plus the rights to Mexico and a percentage of the pay-per-view. This is much more than the $35 million you have in your contract. But Canelo's team rejected the offer. Wow. Now, what makes things worse, because I know some people are going to be like, oh, but Canelo didn't say it. It can't be true, Ego. But what about Canelo? What makes this sound very realistic is we've heard reports recently, other reports, that suggested that there was a bit of a standstill because Canelo Alvarez wanted to fight Jermall Charlo for the $35 million that I guess it says in his contract. And PBC is contending that's not really the type of fight that'll guarantee you that type of money. You would have to fight like a Benavidez and will give you more money, or even a Jaime Munguia. And I made a video about that. Please check that on the channel. But it sounds like Canelo Alvarez has other plans. He would rather pick a Jermall Charlo, who has fought one time in several years, fought and missed weight, fought at a catch weight and missed weight, and he fought an undersized person that Terrence Crawford had already stopped in Jose Benavidez Jr., the brother of David Benavidez. And, you know, he didn't get a stoppage. He didn't even drop Jose Benavidez. So some people are feeling that Jermall Charlo has issues that he needs to attend to in his personal life, and he's not currently at his best, which is exactly why Canelo wants to fight him. And I've said this so many times on my channel because I am truly the best in the business, and it's not even close. Like, literally, there's no one in boxing history in the digital age that has been more accurate and done what I've done in the game. Prediction after prediction, the statements, the knowledge, it all checks out. It all adds up. And I told you that Canelo Alvarez, payday. I even called him a scavenger because of the way he moves. It is very similar to a vulture. If a vulture, let's say there's two animals, a coyote and let's say a fox, right? And the coyote is in the middle of the forest or desert or whatever, right? And he's wounded. Something happened to him, he's wounded. But he's still to the point where he can fight back a little bit. He has enough strength where if the vulture gets in proximity, he can bite back, and he's growling and stuff like that. Then the vulture would likely leave that coyote, that wounded coyote, alone. But let's say you had another animal like the fox, and the fox is smaller by nature, and the fox is near death. Like, the fox is so dehydrated, and literally in 24 hours, if the fox doesn't get any kind of water, it's gonna die, right? That's what the vulture or the scavenger would go after. The scavenger is always gonna go after the weakest prey, you know? And that's what Canelo is doing. You know, Canelo is literally cherry picking. There were people, including myself, who wanted to see him fight against Jermall Charlo. But that was many moons ago, before Jermall Charlo was out of the ring for like 3 years and only had one. This was when they were in the same weight class. Now they're not in the same weight class. So all these parameters are different now. And that's what Canelo Alvarez does. When the threat level is at its peak, he's not really chomping at the bit to fight some of these guys. Like Jermall Charlo after the Julian J. Rock Williams. They were close in weight, probably both at 154, 155. He's not choosing that version of Jermall Charlo and saying, hey, I seen what you did to J. Rock. Now I'm going to beat you up, right? He's fighting in his last fight with PBC. He fought Jermall Charlo, who's a great fighter, but he was off of a layoff. He's a great fighter, but he was off of a hand injury. He didn't even test his hand to see, versus somebody his size, to see if his hand would cooperate, right? Because he was directly off a layoff, a year-plus layoff, and an injury from his previous fight with Castano. And he was actually scheduled to fight Tim Tszyu, and then he injured his hand in camp. Canelo Alvarez seen that, and he's an opportunist and scavenger, so he said, I'm going to bring this guy up from 154 all the way up to 168, and that's why the fight looked so one-sided and pathetic, because you had basically two guys in two different leagues that shouldn't have been fighting each other because of the size differential with no time to acclimate, right? Be one thing if Jermall moved up over the course of time and showed he can beat anybody else. Just think about this. When we have these freak show fights where someone's moving up all this weight in one fell swoop, right? You don't even know if they could beat lesser 168 pounders, let alone the top three guys. Canelo's definitely one of the top three. I have David Benavidez, David Morrell, and Canelo as pretty much the top three current super middleweights. So Jermall, it's not just that he lost to Canelo. We don't know if he could just move up and beat other guys in the top 10, the back half of the top 10, because some people are going to say size doesn't matter. Size absolutely matters. It matters. It doesn't matter if you're Floyd Mayweather and you know how to neutralize it. But not everyone fights like Floyd Mayweather. Not everyone's as well-rounded. Not everyone's as complete. So it definitely can matter if you don't know how to deal with a bigger person, or if you have a weak chin and you can't take shots from people in your division, let alone bigger guys. So yeah, I think that's an overused phrase that skills pay the bills and weight doesn't matter. It definitely matters depending on the fighter. Now, there are fighters out there who are great, terrific, complete fighters, and those fighters are able to negate the additional weight because they have such a high skill set and ring IQ. But for majority of the fighters, that's not going to be the case, where they could just keep moving up in weight and fight bigger and bigger people, and it's just the same as if they were fighting in the little divisions. Because at the end of the day, when you keep moving up, the guys get tougher, they can take shots better, and a lot of them are punching harder, et cetera, et cetera. So this is a bad look for Canelo Alvarez, because it is so apparent what he's trying to do. And ironically, you just now have people catching up, and I've told you this is how Canelo Alvarez is moving. And people are just now seeing it. And I'm seeing a lot of comments online that are currently condemning Canelo Alvarez, but he's been moving like this for quite some time. Canelo is definitely providing a lot of obstacles, and he's becoming almost more hassled than I think he's worth, in terms of, you look at the numbers, you look at his current, the intrigue that he's bringing to fights, and if he doesn't have the proper dance partner, he's not doing some of the better numbers that he's done in his career, like when he fought Floyd Mayweather, when he fought Triple G 1 or 2, when he fought even Julio Cesar Chavez. He hasn't hit 1 million in several fights. None of his DAZN fights was doing over 1 million in America. So it's been since probably Triple G 2 in the Chavez era, where he fought Chavez Jr., that he was hitting 1 mil. The closest he did is when he was going for Undisputed with Caleb Plant, and that did 800, 900K. And those were great numbers, just under 1 million, right? But they also did a great job of building. Showtime did a good job of marketing the fight. There was this incident at the press conference where they pushed and mushed and slapped each other. So that was an exceptional buildup. So Canelo had, a great dance partner in Caleb Plant and a skilled undefeated fighter with a belt. So that was an easy sell. But majority of Canelo's other fights aren't doing that type of number, and he's playing this game like, give me 35 million for Jamal Charlo, and at the same time, in the same breath, turning down 60 plus million plus back end money to fight David Benavidez. And I think the irony of this whole scenario with Canelo is a lot of the racist Canelo fans, because he does have some racist fans. They said that they hated Floyd Mayweather because of X, Y, and Z. They said Floyd Mayweather waited for people to get old before he fought him. So he waited for them to get out of their prime, or he basically cherry-picked them at convenient times. They said all these nasty things about Floyd Mayweather, and then when you look at it, you see who he was fighting, and when he was fighting, you know that that's absolutely untrue. He fought Maidana off of one of his career best wins, where he almost knocked out an undefeated Adrian Broner, who was the favorite. So how did Floyd cherry pick Maidana, who's bigger than him, who hits harder than him, and he was coming off, again, one of his best performances, where he took the soul of Adrian Broner, AB, algebra books, Archbishop, and he knocked him down twice. So that's when Floyd chose to fight a very dangerous Maidana, and he did it back to back because some people said the fight in the first fight was too close. He fought an undefeated Ricky Hatton. He fought Juan Manuel Marquez off of a 2-year layoff when Marquez was the best lightweight, and he had cleaned out the lightweight division and decided to move up. So Marquez was doing well for himself. He fought against Cotto after he avenged the Margarito loss. He fought Shane Mosley after Shane Mosley had destroyed Margarito. So you can't say Floyd was cherry picking and basically an opportunist, picking people when they were soft and tenderized. But then you look at Canelo Alvarez, and he's literally doing that. He wants to fight the Charlo brothers off of layoffs and stuff like that, or inactivity, or mental health issues. And then you got Benavidez, who is staring down at Canelo, been calling out Canelo, his dad's calling out Canelo, and he's being offered more money, and he don't want no smoke. Now, another reason why this feels very true is because reports just broke out that David Benavidez is going to move up to 175 to fight Alexander Volchstik for the WBC interim. David Benavidez put this on his own page. So it looks like David Benavidez, because he can't get the Canelo fight, he wants to stay active, stay busy, and give himself a break. I don't know if he can make 168 anymore, or if he's planning on testing the water and potentially moving up to 175 in general, but he wants to stay active regardless of what Canelo is doing. So that's another reason why this report sounds very accurate. Some people are speculating that he's going to fight Benavidez, but it really doesn't make sense. If Canelo is fighting Benavidez, then how come Canelo hasn't announced the fight, and Benavidez is saying that he's going to fight soon at 175? Like, that doesn't make sense. So we know what it is, and we know the games, what type of games being played, how's it going down. Stars till the stars, and I got to know now. What song is that from? So it's really looking bad for Canelo. He wants no smoke with Benavidez. You got people like Boxingego, Floyd Mayweather, Winky Wright, Oscar De La Hoya, his old promoter, Team Benavidez. Everybody's calling for this one fight, and Canelo doesn't want to give it to you. And again, he's looking exceptionally hard to even deal with. He wants star money, but he doesn't want to make the star events. And then to add insult to injury, they said he had the date for Cinco de Mayo, and that's why there were blackout dates. So the April 20th Devin Haney-Ryan Garcia fight couldn't happen in Vegas as originally intended and planned. So he's holding up that Mexican date, Cinco de Mayo, and he's pushing a very good fight with Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, a fight that boxing fans can get behind and want to see, and a great fight for that division, 140 pounds. He's pushing that out of the West Coast, and then they have to have the fight at the Barclays Center in New York. For what? to try to fight Jermell Charlo. Now, it would make sense if he was trying to fight Benavidez, because to me, that would be a bigger fight than Ryan and Devin. But who wants to see Ryan and Devin get pushed out the city of Vegas, which is a great capital for making money and big boxing, big business, to see Canelo try to cherry pick? So I don't know. We'll see who Canelo decides to fight, but it's looking ugly.